I would like to thank you all for joining this evening to learn about how you can electrify your ride with a new or a pre-owned EV. My name is Annika Osborne. I am with Cool the Earth. We are an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions. While we are big fans of walking, biking, public transit, and carpooling, preferably in an electric car or on an e-bike, we have seen it. With our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the adoption of electric vehicles, EVs, and e-bikes in a fair and just marketplace. I would like to thank City of Palo Alto Utilities for sponsoring this webinar. And yeah, I would like to just point out that City of Palo Alto Utilities electricity is already carbon neutral, and CPAU has some of the most affordable electricity around. Here's our agenda for the day. We're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of driving electric. Then we'll move into EV incentives, about how you can save money on an EV. Then I'll do an EV showcase. Then we'll talk a little bit more about Ride and Drive Clean, who we are, what we do. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A. Feel free to put in some questions in the chat. I'm the only one from Ride and Drive Clean here this evening, so I may not be able to answer them immediately, but I'll definitely get to them by the end of this session, and maybe we'll even stop midway to look at some of those questions. We will be covering a lot of information tonight, but not to worry, I will be sending a PDF of this presentation and a recording in a follow-up email. And if any questions come up, just please put them in the chat. If you have an urgent question, you can unmute or raise your hand and just ask the question if it's something that I'm talking about. Okay, let's dive in. So there are many benefits to driving electric. In California, our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of GHG emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, representing up to 50% of our individual carbon footprint. When we switch from a gas car to an EV and plug into clean energy, like we can in the Bay Area, we are taking impactful climate action by reducing carbon emissions and air pollution, both which disproportionately impact our priority communities. And while driving electric is better for the planet, there's no sacrifice when we go electric. EV drivers save time, money, and enjoy an improved driving experience. So in addition to saving money, with an EV, you can get access to the HOV lane as a single passenger with a special decal, and you'll never have to wait in line at a gas station again. You apply for that carpool lane sticker through the DMV, and they have just extended this. It was something that was supposed to expire this September. They have extended it for 1 year at least, so it is valid through September of 2026, according to the DMV website. They might refund it after that. We'll see. For many people, it's convenient to charge at home and or at work. And EVs offer low maintenance and efficiency. While there are over 2,000 moving parts in a gas car, there are fewer than 20 in an EV. Maintenance for an EV is basically replacing windshield washer fluid and rotating your tires. And EVs are a little more fun to drive. What I really like is the extra torque or power that you have when you drive an EV. When I'm getting on the freeway, I can quickly just power up and accelerate and get onto the freeway easily. And then when I need to maneuver between lanes, it's easy. I can just give it a little power and glide into where I want to go. The quiet and smooth drive makes for great conversations when you're on a road trip. And with the additional safety features and sensors in these high-tech cars, EVs are some of the safest cars available. So before I talk about the lower total cost of ownership, I just want to address the current situation with EVs. We believe, as a nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions, we want to get people driving electric as quickly as possible. It's our mission to help people do that. So we believe that now is a great time to get an EV. The future is a little unpredictable and it's hard to gauge. So the talk about tariffs is causing a lot of uncertainty for auto manufacturers. I've been really learning a lot in this last week how the tariffs on Mexico and Canada are really or potential tariffs are really impacting the auto industry. And yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, which may impact future pricing and inventory of EVs. There's currently a bill in Congress that, if passed, will put an end to the federal tax credit for EVs. This will impact the initial cost of purchasing certain EVs and leasing many EV models. And we'll definitely dive into incentives real shortly here. So although early EV drivers did pay a high premium for electric cars, there weren't that many out there, and the ones that were there were very high end. Today's EV drivers often save money, and here are some reasons why. It costs much less to fuel an electric car. Fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than fueling an EV, depending upon where and when you charge it. And electricity prices tend to be more stable than gas prices, as we've seen over the last few years. Although I do want to say that electricity prices have gone up. I think last year PG&E raised electricity prices 3 times for people who received their bills from PG&E. So that has been going on as well. Maintenance costs are 40% lower for EVs, and there are incentives available which can help bring down the cost of purchasing or leasing an EV. And we'll be talking about these incentives now. So there are basically 3 different kinds of incentives. The federal clean vehicle tax credit is, kind of moderate income rebates available as a rebate at point of sale. There's no tax liability needed. Currently, all of the EVs that qualify for purchasing a new EV have $7,500. There is an income cap. So the tax credit is $7,500, but it is like a rebate because you'll get it upfront when you purchase it. And I will just note that you do have the option to take it as a tax credit, but because we're really unsure of what's going to happen with the tax credits in the coming years, I would say we recommend taking it immediately at the dealership when you're there. That way you're guaranteed to have that rebate or tax credit upfront. If you purchase a pre-owned EV, it's available for up to $4,000. There are some vehicle and income caps for that. And when you lease a new EV, there are great deals and there are no restrictions. So there are quite a few requirements for purchasing a new or used EV with the federal tax credit. But with leases, there are no restrictions at all. You can buy them, EVs that are manufactured in other countries. There are no battery requirements. There are no income restrictions. So we've been seeing really good lease deals. So that's definitely something to consider. There are state grants, and these are lower income grants. So there's Clean Cars for All, which is a retire and replace program available for up to $12,000, depending upon where you live. There's also Drive Clean Assistance Program that's available for $7,500. With Clean Cars for All, you have to retire a 2009 or older gas car that's functioning in order to apply for that grant. With the Drive Clean Assistance Program, you don't have to retire a car. So $7,500 are available. These are lower income grants. So that's definitely something to check out. I will note that Clean Cars for All has now moved to a wait list because their funding is almost used up. Drive Clean Assistance Program is just going to start being launched on March 25th. So, but I will let you know also that, so it is funded, but in order to get these grants, you have to apply in advance. So, and sometimes it takes 2 to 4 months to receive the grant. You want that grant in hand when you go to the dealership to purchase your EV. There are also local incentives, and these are oftentimes lower income rebates. For PG&E, they have a pre-owned EV rebate, $1,000 for anyone who receives their bill from PG&E if you get a pre-owned EV, and $4,000 if you qualify based on income. That's more of a moderate income. Sometimes our CCAs, which are, our clean energy alternatives, like MCE or PCE, you may have heard of, and our municipal utilities have incentives as well. The best place to find out which incentives you qualify for is to go to the savings calculator. It's through the state of California, driveclean.california.gov. You put in your income, your zip code, and it'll pop out all of the incentives that are available. So this is just kind of a summary of information about, the federal tax credit if you purchase a new EV. I will, on the next slide, list all of the EVs that are currently available. But just to give you an idea, officially, the credit amount is either $3,750 or $7,500. Currently, all the ones that are listed get the full $7,500 rebate. They are point of sale rebate at the dealership. There's no tax liability required, but you do want to make sure that you leave the dealership with the seller's report, because when you do file your taxes, you do want to include that seller's report. Here are the income caps for purchasing a new EV. Certain EVs qualify. There's a link right there, fueleconomy.gov, that tells us exactly which ones qualify. Final assembly has to be in the USA. There are battery requirements. The dealer must be registered with the IRS, and owners can't be claimed as a dependent. So this is just in contrast to if you lease an EV, and because there are no requirements if you lease an EV. These are the EVs that currently qualify for the federal tax credit, and you can get that tax credit, use it as a down payment, $7,500, which is great. I'll just leave this up for a moment. Excuse me. And then the clean vehicle credit for pre-owned EVs. There are some requirements here. It's 30% of the sale price, up to $4,000 maximum. The point of sale, it's a point of sale rebate at the dealership, no tax liability required. Make sure the dealership that you're working with is signed up with the IRS so that they can process this and give it to you, so you can use this money as a down payment. The income caps are half of the amount as for the new EVs. And the vehicle price cap is $25,000. The car has to be at least 2 years old, which means now that we're in 2025, it has to be a 2023 model or older. And yeah, the vehicle cannot have used this rebate before. Okay, we're gonna move on here and talk a little bit about the EVs now. So there are so many EV models around. The biggest question is, which one should I get, right? So when I started doing these presentations 5 or 6 years ago, there were 10 models out. And so now it's super exciting. There are over 50 all-electric, close to 40 plug-in hybrids. About 40 of them have all-wheel drive, and the MSRP starting price is $28,000. So even though, so we'll talk more about pricing in a minute. I'm just going to put this up front. We work very closely with our partner, Cartelligent. They are a concierge service that helps people buy, purchase, or lease new EVs. We just did a webinar with them, and they informed us that there are some great lease deals on 2024 models for these vehicles. Also, they said because the market fluctuations right now with the tariff threats and everything, things are a little up and down, up in the air right now. But they're definitely Cartelligent is a trusted source to talk to about different EV models and which ones have like the best deals right now. But yeah, they did share with me this slide. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about we'll do an EV showcase now. So some popular EVs that have been around, we'll be talking about some that are coming. So I have starred the ones that actually qualify for the federal tax credit currently. Unfortunately, this one is starred right in the middle of its name, but the Equinox is a compact SUV that combines SUV capabilities, modern technology, and everyday features. It's quite cost effective. Starting at $33,600, and you can get that $7,500 tax rebate. So that brings the price down significantly. We'll be talking a little bit about the North American charging standard. The NACS adapter just really means that this car is capable, has an adapter, and is capable of charging at Tesla supercharging stations, which makes it very convenient when you go on a road trip. The Nissan Leaf, this car has been around for a very long time. It came out in 2011. The range has increased. I know people who still have their 2011 models. I think when they first bought them, they had like 80 miles of range, and they still have like 50 miles of range, and they're driving them around town, commuting in them. But yeah, these newer Nissan Leafs are the technology has improved greatly. They have two models, one with a range of 150, another with a range of 212. Here are some popular EVs. These cars came out in 2021, so they're new-ish. The ID.4 is the first from the Volkswagen ID brand. There are many more coming. People love their Ford Mustang Mach-E. It's a very popular car. It also has the NACS adapter, and the Hyundai Kona has also been around for a while. People love this car. It's been updated a bit, but the price on this is really nice as well. I do want to let you know that the average, so far, the average cost of a car in the United States in 2025 is $48,000. So all of these cars come in beneath that, and yeah, so this is pretty significant. The cars on this slide all have a bidirectional battery, so you can power a refrigerator or other large appliances with this car battery for a week or so if you lose power. No need for a gas generator. The Kias and the Hyundais are built on the same platform, which also incidentally offers very fast charging. So when you're on a road trip with one of these cars, it's about 20 minutes to go from 20% of charge to 80% of charge. On average, we would say it's about 30 minutes, but these cars have really fast charging. Some of the newer models that are coming out have really fast charging as well. The 2025 Ioniq 5 will have the NACS port built into it, so you can charge at Tesla supercharging stations without an adapter. And then there's Tesla. With Tesla, we like to focus on the technology and really some of the greatest reasons why people drive Teslas. This is why I love my Tesla. Fast, easy, reliable charging. We only have EVs in our household. So I needed a car 4 years ago when my girls were playing club volleyball that could take me to Reno, that could take me to far distances with an easy, short charging break. So this is really great. The Tesla reliability on the charging stations is like 99%. So when you show up to charge your Tesla, or now it's going to be many other cars that can charge at the Tesla supercharging stations, it's fast, easy, and reliable. These are the two more affordable Tesla models, and several trims qualify for the federal tax credit. They're efficient, safe cars, and the Model Y has an optional third row of seats. And the new, so here are some popular EVs kind of in the mid-range. The Honda Prologue is pretty new. It came out just in the last spring. I believe 60,000 models have been sold in the United States. My brother just got one last month. He really likes it. He traded it in for his Polestar 2, actually, which he had leased before. Also a very nice car. This is the Polestar 2 is a sedan, while the Prologue is more of a crossover SUV. Very nicely appointed car, the Polestar. The Audi Q4 e-tron comes in at a great price, about $20,000 less than the regular e-tron. And the Chevy Blazer came out last year. It's fairly new. It's a little bit of a higher end model than the other model, and it also has the North American charging station adapter. Couple of more. Yeah, the XC40 Recharge is coming out any day now. Volvo says it is small in size and big on safety. There's the C40 Recharge, which has been around for a couple years, really popular. There's another one that's a little boxier, a little more traditional. You know, it kind of looks like the XC40 Recharge, but it's bigger. It's more of an SUV. And the Cadillac Lyriq actually does qualify for the federal tax credit and is a really nice looking car. Couple of higher end cars, the Lucid Air. I test drove that car a few months ago. It's a really fun car to drive. The Polestar 3 just came out this last year, so it's more of a wagon as compared to the 2, which is a sedan. The Jeep Wagoneer is new this year, and the Acura is very popular. I will let you know that, like, don't let these MSRP starting prices scare you. There are some great lease prices on even some of these higher end EVs. So yeah, so the Mini Cooper, yeah, if you guys, if finding a parking spot is often on your mind, these are some smaller EVs that you may want to take a look at. The Mini Cooper comes with significantly more range than the current model. The Fiat 500e was very popular for many years. It's now making a comeback with more range. Sorry, this is actually the Volvo EX30 that I was talking about. It's a smaller model and just coming out also. But yeah, I have a friend who has this Fiat 500e, and she lives in San Francisco. I don't know if you've ever noticed in San Francisco, there are a lot of parking spots that seem to be like 2/3 of a spot. These cars all would fit nicely in some of those spots. Here are some EVs that have 3 rows of seats. The Kia EV9, I believe, last year was the car of the year. Very popular. There is the Mercedes comes in at a nice price. The Rivian came out a couple years ago. This is their SUV model. They are coming out with the R2S next year, and it will be a bit smaller and the price will be significantly lower. VinFast comes out of Vietnam, so popular car in Vietnam. I was just in Vietnam in January, and we're happy to see that they have two different models, actually, the VinFast VF9 and the 8, which is a little smaller. We have electric trucks. These trucks are already out. The Ram, and even the Ram has an EV truck now. These trucks are basically generators at home and batteries on wheels on the road. You can use these cars to power up your medical devices or any equipment that you have. These cars all qualify for the federal tax credit, not the Rivian, but the other 3 do currently. As I mentioned, yeah, the Rivian will also come out with an R2T in 2016, which will be significantly smaller and more affordable. Yeah, this is kind of my favorite. I've been eyeing this one for a few years. Yeah, this one just came out at the end of last year. I've seen a couple around town, really fun. I definitely stop and take a look at them. My dream, my retirement dream, is to have one of these cars and to cruise up and down the California coast and, you know, sit there at the ocean and make some coffee and enjoy the views. But yeah, it's a very popular EV. We're excited. We're going to have this at a lot of our EV shows this year. I just have one slide on plug-in hybrids, but these are some of the more popular ones around. The Toyota RAV4 Prime, I have several friends who have this car. It's very popular. They love it. People are familiar with the Toyota brand. Great, and here are a few other options. I also, with the Toyota RAV4 Prime, what I like is that it has a large electric range. So many people can do a lot of their driving on electricity when you get this car, and you can save the gas tank for a road trip. I wanted to just give a nod to some pre-owned EVs, just to give you an idea of the price range. So the Chevy Bolt was a very popular EV. They did not come out with a 2024 model. I'm reading that they will come out with the 2025. I haven't heard any updates though. This one, was one of the more affordable EVs. And it's really exciting on the pre-owned market because there was a battery recall. That doesn't sound exciting, but the exciting part about that is that they had to replace the batteries on all of these. So even the older ones, this is like from 2017 to 2021. So even some of those older 2017 Chevy Bolts got a brand new battery pack, a brand new warranty for 100,000 miles and 8 years. So it's like kind of having a new EV in many ways. So these are very affordable on the used market. There are many available. The Tesla Model 3 is also very popular on the used market. Talking about that federal tax credit for pre-owned EVs, the vehicle cap is 25,000. So you can definitely get any of these three EVs under 25,000, and so they will qualify. I would just watch out with the Nissan Leaf. You want to make sure that that you have enough range for your needs. Yeah. So these are some more pre-owned fully electric EVs, a little higher end, so the pricing is a little bit higher. Here are some pre-owned plug-in hybrids, just to give you an idea. The new Toyota Prius Prime, I think as of the 2023 model, has like a 45 miles of range. The older one has probably more like 22 miles of range. So depending on which model year you get, you'll want to check in on how much electric range that has. The Honda Clarity was really popular. They stopped making them in 2021, but people love this. It has a nice electric range, 45. Affordable, great car for a commute. I have a friend who owns this car and she has never gone to the gas station. She just charges it up every day and uses it for her around the town driving. And some larger EVs also on the used market. Just to give you a little bit of an idea. I also, as you'll see here, I have the link to eMotion Autos. That is a pre-owned EV dealership that is our partner. We highly recommend working with them. If you do reach out to them, please let them know that we sent you. And we will be probably doing some kind of campaign with them later this spring. They're great. They have a little bit of a different model. So rather than, if you go to a dealership to get a used EV, you can select from the EVs that they have on the lot. So the way this works is they help you kind of determine which EV is right for your lifestyle. They're very knowledgeable. They know about all of the incentives, which is great. They can help you process any of the incentives that you qualify for, like the federal tax credit or any of the other ones. So once you've decided which EV you're interested in, you'll tell them exactly what you want. So, I actually got my Tesla Model Y through them. I bought a 2021 Model Y last summer through them. And, so I told them what color I wanted, how many miles I wanted, like the maximum amount of miles on the car. I wanted a body, like with a used EV, you want to make sure the body is like in good shape or, the right shape for whatever you care about. So I told them I wanted 4.5 or higher. I didn't want to buy a car that has a bunch of dings and lots of, physical damage. And then I told them how much I was willing to pay for this car. So I gave them like a maximum number. And then what they do, then you give them a payment of $500, which can be refundable if they can't. It is fully refundable if they can't find you the car that you're looking for. But if they can find you the car, it will be your part of your down payment for the car, that $500 deposit. So they go to auction. There are auctions every day. And with auctions, they have a much larger selection than going to a dealership per se. So, they might be more likely to find the color that you want or, a special trim levels that you're interested in. So anyway, they're also really great guys. They're retired. They met as researchers at Stanford, and they've been working in the utility industry for their whole lives. And in retirement, they just want to help ordinary people drive electric. So we highly recommend working with them. Okay, a little bit of a nod to e-bikes here. So if you're not in the market for an EV, an e-bike might be right for you. So instead of hopping in a gas car, you can try commuting or running errands with an EV. Or with an e-bike. E-bikes are fast and fun. There are so many different types and models to choose from: cargo, commuter, recreational. These are also great. If you want to take public transit, you can take your e-bike maybe to public transit. I know there are even some like e-bike shares around different, towns these days for that last mile. So they can be really handy in many ways. This next section is about how to EV. So we're going to talk a little bit about charging. Many people are nervous about charging. But for most people, 80 to 90% of charging is done at home. Charging at home or at work. Charging at home or at work is easy. At home, you just plug in the charger that comes with your vehicle into a standard 120-volt outlet. I am learning that many EVs do not come with standard charging cables anymore. I know it's an add-on for Tesla right now. And I believe for the Hyundai Ioniq 5 as well, it's an add-on. They cost about $200 or $250. I think they're taking into account a lot of people who get EVs now are using public charging, so they don't need a cable, but they are available to purchase. There are no install costs if you just plug into a 120-volt outlet, besides perhaps an extension cord, a heavy-duty grounded extension cord. It will give you somewhere between 30 and 40 miles of charge, really 30 and 50 miles of charge in 8 hours. In the Bay Area, on average, people drive 25 miles a day. And so this solution called level 1 charging works out great for most people. If you drive more than 40 miles a day, a good option is to see if you can charge at work. And if not, you may want to purchase a home charging station for level 2 charging. As I mentioned, it's really just having an electrician install a 240-volt outlet in a convenient spot to where you're going to park it and then purchasing the charging station. You can get a recommendation from an electrician on Nextdoor or Yelp, or ask friends and family. I do want to point out that, with a level 2 charger, you'll be getting about 25 miles or to 30 miles in an hour. So you can easily get a full charge overnight. But again, most people only drive 25 miles a day, so it's unnecessary. And with level 2 charging, for many people, they're really just charging for 1 or 2 hours a day just to replenish what they use. So it's a little bit different than filling up a gas car. When I had a gas car, I'd go to the gas station when I was empty, fill it up, drive for the week. But with an EV, if you have access to a standard outlet or a charging station, you can just plug it up and replenish what you've used that day. Charging away from home is easy too. There are many level 2 public chargers around town, available in a lot of parking lots, so you can charge when you're, running errands and such. But when you are on a road trip, you will want to fast charge with a level 3 charger, which is the fastest charging available. There are 3 standards for fast charging. There's the CHAdeMO on the left, which is only used for Nissan Leafs. On the right, we have the Tesla standard, which is now called the North American Charging Standard, or NACS. The one in the middle is the CCS standard. This is the one that most EVs currently have. But as I mentioned earlier, every single manufacturer is moving to the North American Charging Standard. And that is really great news because of the very There are so many Tesla charging stations, supercharging stations. They are reliable. And so I think manufacturers wanted to make sure people had a convenient, easy way to charge these EVs. And so they are offering for many of their models an adapter that they can use to charge. And starting in 2025, a lot of 2025 models are going to have that NACS port built into the car. That's the commitment that's been made. It's kind of coming out a little slower. We're trying to follow this in the news. So far, we know the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has that NACS port. So once you start driving electric, it's ideal to charge your EV from rooftop solar. We talked a little bit about that. There's a federal tax credit available. Well, I used to say for 10 years, for up to 30% of the cost of solar and a battery. I don't know how long that credit will last. It's a great feeling to charge your car from the electricity that you generate from your own roof. And for more resilience, you may want to consider, battery for storage. If you're not ready for solar, as we talked about, City of Palo Alto Utilities electricity is already carbon neutral, and CPAU has some of the most affordable electricity around. To make the most of renewables, they recommend that you charge your EV during peak solar hours, and if that's not available, after midnight. City of Palo Alto will be moving to time of use rate plans, but currently it's the same price anytime you charge it. But really, every utility, and I'm in touch with all the different utilities and CCAs, they recommend charging during the day when the sun is shining, if that's available to you. We have so much solar energy available on our grid, and we want to use it all up if we can during the day, because if we haven't used it or stored it, when the sun is down, it's gone. But yes, other utilities and CCAs have clean options as well, and some offer special reduced EV or time of use rates. So you pay less for electricity during certain times of the day. If you receive your bill from PG&E, you may have a variety, any one of these CCAs as well. It's great because the best time to charge, the cheapest time to charge is between midnight and 3 p.m. So really, the only time you don't want to charge is between 3 p.m. and midnight, because it's about twice as expensive on the EV rate, but it's very affordable if you have an EV and you sign up for the EV rate. You do need a VIN to get that EV rate, and just so you all know, all of your electricity will be charged at that rate. So, you do need to think a little bit about that. Make sure that it's convenient for you to use your electricity between midnight and 3 p.m. Taking a road trip is getting simpler all the time. Thousands of public charging sites provide fast charging, and using apps like PlugShare, it's easy to plan a trip and find chargers along the way. You can map out your trip on your computer before heading out on a road trip and use the app when you are on the road. Electrify America, EVgo, Tesla, and ChargePoint are the most popular ones that you'll see in the Bay Area. You can just show up to the charging station. You can either use an app or a card and hold that up to the station. Many of them take Visa cards as well. But the advantage of using the app is that you actually get more affordable electricity, and it seems to work. It seems to be more reliable if you use the app. I love with like ChargePoint, that's typically for me level 2 charging. Like when I go to the farmer's market, I plug into ChargePoint and I have it on my Apple Wallet. So it's really convenient and easy for me to access ChargePoint. Okay, so moving on. I wanted to address EV ownership. If you live in an apartment or condo, there are many solutions. Many people charge using just a 120 volt outlet. There are new smart outlets that are inexpensive solutions to charging that also handle billing. Sometimes in a small apartment, building, you might just pay the property manager like $20 a month or something. You could work something out, but these smart outlets handle it all for you. The way that works is that you use an app to start your session. and to end your session, and you connect that app to a payment system, so you're paying for the electricity that you use. A lot of people charge at work. If you work, from a typical 9 to 5 day, that's really great because then we're using all that solar energy that's available to us. People use public chargers for their main source of charging, and there are other EV Match is another option. If you don't have charging at your apartment or condo, advocate for it. It's actually a law in California that property managers have to provide EV charging. They don't have to pay for it, but they have to be willing to provide it. So that's kind of a good thing to know, to understand if you're in that situation. So a little bit more about who we are. So Ride and Drive Clean, again, we're a nonprofit environmental organization with the mission to reduce carbon emissions. We're here to help you go electric. We offer EV campaigns. We will be offering a couple this year, 3 to 4 times a year on new and pre-owned EVs. This will help you save money. We do EV expos where you can talk to EV owners and view a variety of EVs. We have one scheduled if you're down on the peninsula in Palo Alto on the 29th at the end of this month. So March 29th at Mitchell Park, we'll be there from 11 to 2. We'll have lots of exciting EVs to showcase. We have another one in San Anselmo coming up May 4th. More will be added to our calendar. We also offer these EV and e-bike webinars ongoing. This is the one that we're at tonight. It's actually 7 p.m. Also, when you sign up with us, we'll give you, we send newsletters and we'll keep you up to date on our campaigns and the latest news. So I know we're kind of at the end of this here. We've gone a little bit over, but I'd like to take this moment to thank you all for attending this program wherever you are in your journey to an EV. I hope that it was helpful. And I want to again thank CPAU, City of Palo Alto Utilities, for funding us for this webinar. If you can make the switch to driving electric now, we're here to help. The sooner, the better. If you're not ready now, can we have your support by pledging to make your next car electric? Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car. It will be on this earth emitting carbon and air pollution for 12 to 15 years. And we do need to stop doing that as quickly as possible. Okay, moving on to Q&A. I'm going to see if anybody else. Yes, okay, so a couple more things coming in here. Yes, Katina, it is true that for day-to-day use, manufacturers recommend that you keep your car between 20 to 80% of its charge. This is actually true for all batteries, all lithium-ion batteries. So even our cell phones and our laptops should, they're the happiest between 20 and 80%, and they will last the longest if you keep them at that charge level as much as possible. But clearly, if you're about to go on a road trip, or if you just need like a longer range for a day or whatever you're doing, you can crank it up to 100% the night before so that you can start your road trip with a good charge. Let's see, some people are dropping off. Let's see, what is the cost at public charging stations? So it depends, and it's decided by the charging company, really. So typically I've seen that level 2 charging, slower public charging, is more affordable than level 3 charging. But my comparison is like level 3 charging, it's about half the cost of gasoline. So when you're going on a long road trip, it'll be, it's a little more expensive, but you probably are not, unless you're using super fast charging stations all the time. But like I know at the Tesla supercharging station, they have time of use rates also. So if you go to, if you charge during certain times of the day, it's more affordable. So that's something to look at as well. How does a lease company figure in the rebate? The federal tax credit is figured out. So yeah, it's kind of a leasing loophole with the federal tax credit. So to get technical, when you lease a car, it's the bank that actually owns your car. And so the bank can take advantage of a commercial credit, and commercial credits had no requirements. So the bank passes on that $7,500 to the dealer, and then the dealer can decide whether or not to pass that along to you. But it's all worked into your lease deal and into your kind of monthly payments. But for the other ones, like for PG&E, if you lease, oh no, that's just for used. If you qualify for any of the others, like those California grants, it's fine. You just have to make sure you're working with a dealership that can process those grants. There's a list of dealerships that can. Yes, I will give you the link to the savings calculator in a moment, because it is much easier to get that now. So this is published by the state of California, and I do believe they added the federal tax credit. They didn't have it before, but this is pretty handy. Yes, the Mustang Mach-E has level 2 charging. All of the EVs really have level 2 charging. Some of if you buy a used Chevy Bolt, having access to fast charging was an add-on. So you want to make sure if you're planning to take it on a road trip and use level 3 charging, that you have one that has level 3 charging. But all other EVs have it. Even my 2016 Volkswagen e-Golf that only has 80 miles of range has level 3 charging. Publisher, does it ping you when the battery is charged? Yes, Allison, yes. So if you're charging from the app, it'll give you updates, and even, there are definitely ways to set it up. Yeah. So each one is a tiny bit different. But what I will say is, yes, you can set it up so that you get, a little thing like, hey, you're done charging now, like, come back to your car. And it is really a good idea after you're done charging to move your car, to unplug and move your car so other people can charge. Yeah. So, for example, I think with Electrify America, you can say something, something comes up on the screen that says, hey, do you want to receive alerts, charging alerts? So you say yes, and then you'll get them on your phone. If you use the app, you'll automatically get them. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I am happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
Hi, I'm just gonna come on because I think what I'm trying to think about a lot right now, and I learned some interesting information about like the lease part of it tonight, which I hadn't considered, is if you're thinking about getting, something with a range of at least 200, miles or more than that, that it doesn't, it's hard to find, it's hard to get all the incentives. It seems like the incentives are better set up for getting a new car than getting a used car.
If you lease a new car, there have been really great lease deals. And so the federal tax credit has been applied. Yeah, so what we know is that there's been a bill presented to Congress to end the EV tax credit. And from that hasn't passed yet. And if it does pass, then I think you'll have 30 days to get that. So that's sort of, yeah. But there are many pre-owned rebates. It also depends on your income. But yeah, PG&E, and then depending upon where you live, I think you're in MCE service area, they have a rebate as well.
Yeah, it's just, I think that the prices for more recent cars, used cars, are over the cap.
Oh, yes, for many of them.
Yeah.
Yes, so you don't qualify for them. Yeah. So, leasing has been, a lot of people have been leasing lately. There have been really good deals. But like right now, I will tell you, I spoke with Cartelligent. I've been emailing with them in the last few days. And, all of this changing tariffs thing is really hard for the automobile industry. So they're having a hard time like really grasping what's going to happen or how this is going to impact. And, I'm learning that like when you buy all cars, really, they pass between Canada to the US to Mexico for different, and so it's complicated right now, unfortunately. But my recommendation is try to get an EV as soon as possible. I mean, especially with the tariffs now, I guess they're delayed for 30 days for everything, but it's clearly for automobiles as well. So maybe there is a little bit of a window now in the next 30 days to get an EV. So the best time to get an EV, I think, is now, just because everything else is a little bit uncertain.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
On many levels, yes.
So does Cartelligent, basically, if you call or if you contact them, and let them know that you're coming through, through your organization,
Yeah, Ride and Drive Clean.
Do they sort of have a set package kind of thing?
They don't really have a package right now. Sometimes we offer these discount campaigns. We had one in February, but that one's over. So we're not offering one as far as we know this month. Okay. Maybe in a few weeks, but it's just very unpredictable for them right now. So they weren't sure if they would be able to offer it for the full month. So, but they can tell you where the good deals are, where the good lease deals are, for sure. And if you've kind of narrowed it down to 2 or 3 EVs that you're interested in, then, it's that they can be very helpful. There is a service fee when you work with Cartelligent. So they charge a service fee of $595. And if you mention Ride and Drive Clean, it's $495. So they give a little bit of a break. And most people who use Cartelligent, who, get back to us, they're like, we will never buy a car in a different way. So Cartelligent they're in the business of negotiating great deals with dealerships. And because since they're a car concierge service, they work with multiple dealerships. So they do the negotiating for you. So we think I think I'm a good negotiator. I'm going to go get an EV and I'll be great. But they are really good at this. So they typically get better pricing. So it makes it worthwhile to pay that service fee. And then it's also a no hassle experience. I don't know the last time you've been in the dealership and you walk in and it's just, you're kind of trapped in there. And then like sometimes you leave with a car that you didn't want and you didn't intend on even buying a car. And it's like, what just happened? And so it's a no hassle experience. It's straightforward. And you pick up your EV at one of their 3 actually they have 4 service areas. Katina, I know you want a pre-owned EV, but if you want to consider new, they actually have an office in Irvine, and then Sausalito, Walnut Creek, Menlo Park. Yeah. And
Thank you so much. And sorry for so many questions.
Yeah, good, go.
No, I think that's it. But I had so many questions. I'm sorry.
I thought you had more questions. Yeah, we advocate for anything that plugs in so we can reduce emissions. Hybrids are of course better than non-hybrids because you can, they have really good miles per gallon. I'd like to know who to contact to get a charger. We talked a little bit about that. Okay, so Robert, you're looking at these 2 cars, the Ioniq 5 versus the Tesla Model 3. Okay. So the Ioniq 5, just to give you an idea, is a crossover SUV. It's much bigger. The Tesla Model 3 is a sedan. So in the Tesla Model 3, you sit down much lower, whereas and there isn't as much storage space, although Tesla does have some really great design. So there is a lot of storage space in the Tesla. Yeah. Let's see, try to decide between all electric or a plug-in hybrid. I would say the advantage to an all electric is that there are you're working with one system and there are so few moving parts in an EV. So there's very little maintenance. When you get a plug-in hybrid, then it's like having a gas car. So you're going to have to do all of the maintenance that you would for a gas car. So you won't save as much money from that perspective. Most typical long range, Menlo Park to LA. We don't have 220 service yet. So that's kind of interesting, Niels. So for 3 years when we had our first EV, we just plugged it into the 120 outlet, and basically you can replenish, get like 40 to 50 miles overnight or in 8 hours if you just can plug into a standard outlet. So you may not need to have 220 service. What happened for us, it really depends on how much you drive during the week. We don't drive that much during the week. We would drive a lot on the weekends. When we came home on Sunday night, we had very little charge in our cars. And then every night we would plug it in during the time of use rates. And then by the end of the week, we would have a full battery again. So that worked out well for us. Once in a while, if we had to drive the car long distance midweek, we would go to a fast charging station. And there are so many of those around, just for like 15, 20 minutes, just to kind of get a little more range in the car. So that's something to consider. I don't believe there are PG&E rebates currently for upgrading the electric box. There are perhaps some for lower income folks, some rebates to get an EV charger. PG&E used to have a rebate, but they don't currently have that rebate anymore. Or actually they do have it, but it's in, and I can look it up for you. It's in the, it is in certain neighborhoods. If you live in a disadvantaged community, then you might be able to qualify for this, the PG&E rebate. Edison, California has a 4,200 rebate program to upgrade electric box. Okay, that's great. So you're in Southern California. Okay, would love your thoughts on using a solar panel absolutely. So yes, so it's great if you have solar to charge, you can charge during the day so that you can use the solar that you're generating from your own rooftop. Yeah, so insurance is, it's interesting. There are some people say they pay a little more for insurance with an EV. Some people say they don't. So there's very little maintenance with an EV, but because these cars are super high tech, they have sensors all around them. If there's a car accident, then it's more expensive to replace these parts because they have so many high tech components. I would say people are paying between 3 to 5% more in insurance. And Tesla does offer its own insurance as well. I don't know if you can use it for a used Tesla, but if you get a new Tesla, and I believe it's coming to California. I'm not sure if it's here now. I know certain insurance companies, are more affordable than others. I just transferred over to AAA. I'm not trying to plug AAA in any way, but it reduced the cost of my insurance. So shopping around is definitely worthwhile. Slide presentation being slowed. Can you all see the slides now? Tamara, I hope everybody. Yeah. Okay, good. For moderate and low income. So that sort of depends, Allison. So yeah, it's a little complicated. It's like every incentive is a little different. So I'll give you an example for for the state rebates, Clean Cars for All, Drive Clean Assistance Program. If you're a single person, it's about $45,000. And if you're a family of 4, $93,000 is your income cap, household income cap for those lower end ones. I think I've already mentioned the PG&E rebate. I think it's like $150,000 for a family of 4 to get the $4,000. But you do kind of have to look them all up. And that's why using the savings calculator is a really good idea. because that way you can put in your income and it'll let you know exactly which ones you qualify for. The grants stack and combine. Some of them do, yes. So a lot of them are for there are more incentives for pre-owned, so those stack, definitely. So for some people, depending upon where you live in the Bay Area, if you have one of those grants, like the Clean Cars for All grant in hand, some people can save $24,000 on an EV, $22,000 on a pre-owned EV, but that is if you qualify for all of those different grants. Many people for new EVs will qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. And then, yeah, so there are more with the pre-owned EVs for sure. Really hard to find a 20 that qualifies for the tax credit. Yeah, so Katina, I do know that Emotion Autos does work in the Bay Area mostly. I would contact them. Maybe they could have the car, you might have to pay to have it like shipped down to LA, or if you come up here to pick it up, that would be an opportunity. But I know they have many EVs available to them at auction with over 200 miles of range that are under $25,000. Those Chevy Bolts would be a really good idea. And like the Tesla Model 3, for sure. I would be a little wary of the Nissan Leaf just because it doesn't have as long of range. Yes, I will send everybody a recording. I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, the Ioniq 6. Good deals on the Ioniq 6 for sure. If that's what you were referring to, it's more of a sedan. I guess that's a good question, Jennifer. Is there a concern about getting like the first EV model? I think plenty of people have done that. This is kind of why a lot of people tend to lease their EVs, just because it is new technology in general. I mean, these EVs have been around for like 11, 12 years here. So yeah, people lease them. I mean, there are recalls in gas cars and in EVs. Sometimes there may be a recall as they're fixing things, but those get repaired typically. And oftentimes they're also over-the-air updates, some of these recalls. Thomas, I'm not exactly sure about the BMW X5. It was not listed on the, that's the plug-in. Is that the plug-in hybrid? Yeah, that is not available for the tax credit. I'm not sure what you're asking, actually. There are no incentives currently for hybrids, for straight up hybrids, but plug-in hybrids and fully electric EVs. Yes, Roberta, many people do this, and I've heard Cartelligent. Sometimes Cartelligent comes to these webinars, and they say, you can get some really good lease deals, and then you can purchase it. Sometimes you have to wait a few months to purchase it, but that's one way to purchase an EV. Yes, Adam of Emotion Autos is excellent to talk to. Yeah, so the income caps for the California grants, like 45,000 single, I'll say that again, like 93,000 for a family of 4. Yeah, answered, thank you. Which 2,500 for gas cars would go up to 5,000. Wow. I guess it also depends on what kind of insurance you have. I mean, the different liability levels and such. Yeah, I would definitely shop around for that. Will this webinar? Yes, I will send it again. I will send this off. Is the federal rebate available for the Ioniq 6? It is not. As a lease, you may be able to take advantage of the federal tax credit for the Ioniq 6. There have been really good deals on that EV. Plug-in hybrids. So the federal tax credit, I think just the Chrysler Pacifica qualifies currently. And then, yeah, some of those California grants qualify. They all qualify for the California grants, but they are more lower income. The PG&E pre-owned rebate qualifies as well. experience with the Prologue, looking into one. My brother just got one a month ago. He really likes it. It's he likes the space. I don't know too much information about that, but it's a very popular car and it's gotten very good reviews.